Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming for this meeting. And this is essentially is a meeting for explaining the judging process. And first of all, I must thank you all for being the mentor for this competition, as well as thank you very much for accepting to be a judge. Everywhere being a judge is not a simple thing, and it's not an easy task. It's a task which demands a lot of work. I'm very happy that you are so experienced pilots and want to really give back to the society, community. And this is also one of the attempts of AIMPA that what we'll today discuss is I will give you a little brief overall of AIMPA as well as SAMIPTA, just in few words. Most of you know about the AIMPA. Then I would like to really congratulate also the cadets here who are the part of the core committee meeting, the core committee, and who are running this entire competition. So one of the cadet also will run the presentation on judging process. He will explain. We'll show the entire core team. We also have judges profiles there, and we will show you the timelines, judging criterias, and further the results and submissions, things like that. So it's a simple thing. I mean, not more than 15 slides, and we can have them question answers in case you have any doubts. You can ask. Not that all our doubts we can answer. But then we have to, at the end of the meeting, come to a consensus saying that, yes, we will do it this way. So no credits are, justice is not delivered to anyone. So, something like that. So, again, welcome everyone. So, AIMPA is doing a kind of lot of work in the space of, hi ma'am, ma'am has just joined. Hi ma'am, good afternoon. Yes, thank you for coming.
Good afternoon. I'll be here for 5 minutes because I'm running between 2 meetings. I've already missed one meeting.
Okay, ma'am. So we have with us at the moment all these judges, the competition, and Captain Ed Verbik and Ravi Nitcher. Both are the mentors like you for this competition. They're also here who are giving a lot of suggestions to this meeting. And rest everybody, I mean, the Captain Kohli, Captain Pandey, you already know. Padri, you know. Aidan Roberts is from New Zealand. And he's a very so he's there, and Captain Ilo is from Italy.
Oh, fantastic! You've got
and Herman Brewers is from
Australia, not New Zealand.
Oh,
and ma'am,
yes, Australia, okay, not New Zealand.
Yeah, Steve Banks is from New Zealand, and we have Herman Brewers here, who's a very famous pilot in Rotterdam. I mean, in Holland. So he's a great guy. And Dr. Malini Shankar is a Vice Chancellor of Indian Maritime University. And the entire competition, when I discussed with her, she was so enthusiastically, because she has seen this, being a director of shipping in India for 5 years. So she's on both sides of administration, flag state, and now she's in education side. So she understands the shipping better than anybody else in India in the administration side. So when I tossed this idea to her, she was so enthusiastic about it. But she had heard about the pilot ladder issues and pilots had spoken to her also. So she wanted to really get this going. So she gave a full platform support of IMU for this competition, and I'm really thankful to her because she only did not mentor the idea and give support to us, but wholeheartedly she also gave the kind of students to form a core committee and our professors to help out, because this is a pan-India competition of all maritime training institutes, which are 148 in total. So we have to reach to all of them, and things like that. Ma'am, you can speak for 5 minutes and then maybe you can leave, then you can manage the meeting.
Thank you for the kind words, Captain Karanjikar. It's a pleasure to be with you. And I would at the outset thank each one of you for willingly being and enthusiastically being a part of this initiative. As you would have understood by now, this initiative, which has been in joint partnership between the Indian Maritime University and the All India Marine Pilots Association, and particularly Captain Gajanan Tiktikar. He is synonymous with that institution. It's a very unique initiative to raise awareness regarding the safety requirements when about marine pilots, and two is to see how that can be implemented. What are the methods that can be implemented? What are the alternatives to the present method, etc. So as part of the raising
awareness.
awareness, it has to be, we're spreading this knowledge to the students and getting them involved in this whole exercise because they are part of the maritime fraternity. As it goes, the marine engineers and the captains have their own areas of work and responsibilities carved out. But I think this issue of marine pilots is sometimes forgotten in this discussion. So pilotage is not seen as a very specialized sector which has to be given the due interest and due attention to the safety requirements. And I think Captain Karanjikar came up with this very innovative method of having a competition among the students to see what kind of papers they can come up with. It has gone through several iterations. It's not something, normally a competition, you say, okay, these are the rules, these are the guidelines, now you submit a paper. But he's actually engaged with the student representatives, engaged with each of the campuses, engaged with many of the experts within and outside the university. And very strategically, he's had sessions with the students to see, I remember him mentioning to me that we don't want just quantity of papers. We are not interested in hundreds of papers, but we need papers with a certain amount of interest, commitment, which reflects the quality of thinking behind that. So, I really appreciate that, and it is with the same approach that he is having this session with the judges and with the others associated with this initiative. So kudos to Captain Karanjikar and an immense thanks from me and my team and Karanjikar's team. Without that, it will just be another competition which just goes through the process. So thank you and best wishes for carrying this through, and we hope to achieve the outcomes that and the objectives that we started out with, raise greater awareness for this very critical component of the maritime chain. Thank you. Is there anything else you would like me to add, Captain Karanjikar? I think I have covered.
No, ma'am. Yeah. No, thank you very much. Thanks for your presence. I know you're very busy since morning today, and thank you so much.
Some days are busier than others, and yesterday and today have been rather hectic. So I actually missed out a meeting in between because of the number of meetings today. Yeah.
Okay.
So I will just sit through this for another 5 minutes, and then.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So let me begin again. I mean, okay, fine. So this is the entire initiative. AIMPA has been formed in 2019 on a very unfortunate incident of Captain Gupta, who died in Mumbai port. And thereafter, of course, the Captain Gupta did not die out of the pilot ladder failure or something like that. That's a different reason. But then, hello, you can mute yourself. So idea was to, when we realized that there was no support system, ecosystem to the pilots in India, because then after the accident happened, I went and met port chairman and everybody else, and then I did not get the right kind of support or answers from them. So that's the basically the incident has to happen, some good things to happen. So something like that happened for the AIMPA, and AIMPA was formed. But then we had we had the motto as safety and security of pilots. But then, but how do you begin the work? I mean, any organization to start the work, you need support of pilots. So the pilots weren't available. So we had some mariners with us, and Captain Ravi Nichar came along in supporting the entire initiative, guiding us as to how we should go about it. And I'm really thankful to him. And he's still attached to us very much. And then it just spread to little more pilots in India. Captain Kohli also always supportive in the initial days, and of course till now also he always advises us. So we saw the very low hanging fruit was pilot ladder safety, pilot ladder as such, because that pilot ladder thing is on every pilot's life is hanging on that. So, and we saw a lot of violations in India, the ships coming in India, irrespective of nationality and flag. So we did some kind of awareness program in that. So one of the awareness program was to teach people on board. But then that was not possible because one pilot will board the vessel and he'll teach only 5-6 crew. So then we thought that why don't we go to institutions MTIs and teach those cadets and ABs and chief officers and masters about the pilot ladder rigging and what flaws are there. So we started the program in May 2020 for carrying out the training sessions for the training institutes, and which was really, applauded very well initial sessions, because the training institutes were not devoting much time on this subject, which is of prime importance. We always lose about 2 to 3 lives in the world. So of course, we put the kind of a fear into the chief's officers that if something happens, you will be probably a manslaughtering charges on you. So, of course, nothing happens except you let the fear. So we continued training. And, this pilot ladder thing was not only a training thing. We also had to percolate it to the administration, to flag state, to the Indian government, to the MOUs, now we have gone to wettings as well. We wrote a letter to Shell about a few days back, and Shell has come back replying that we will definitely look into it. So unless we also percolate this into everywhere. So our training also continued to Sanjeev Pandey, also one of the trainers of ours, and he trains, he also participates in a lot of training of MTIs. But then, coming to the creating awareness, we thought, why don't we, have a competition? So although this competition is all about the, innovative ways about risk assessment and management of pilot ladder, boarding risk, or pilot transfer, so as to say, in a bigger term. But at the core of the competition or collaboration, you can call it, the idea is to create awareness. Today we have 157 teams participating, and each college is discussing, at the core of their events, pilot ladder initiatives and things like that. So there are about 1,500 people at the moment involved in maritime training institutes discussing this thing, because each team has got 3 people and they are supported by 2 professors. So this kind of awareness I couldn't have done unless I do this kind of a mass event, which will also attract the young minds. And these cadets are going to be there at sea for next 20 years. So I'm sure for next 20 years, they're going to have that pilot ladder thing in their mind. And this is the most practical thing. Pilot ladder is going to be here to stay. It's not going to go because it's not gone for last 300 years. So definitely these cadets, irrespective of discipline of engineering, naval arc, of their nautical discipline or MBA. Some entries come from MBA as well, MBA shipping and logistics. But idea was to tap their young mind, which is not prejudiced. Like we all have climbed the pilot ladder many times and we think it is the best way. But the young minds can come up with the idea. And then Ed Verbeek came with a fantastic, he wrote a mail to me on this was eye-opener for me actually. And then I really copied that mail and to show to all the cadets how operational feasibility of your idea is very important, and how the crew will not accept a change directly given to them. So think about these factors as well. Showing, making an innovative suggestion is pretty easy, but then feasibility of implementation and the percolation to the last man standing is very important. So, I approached the ma'am and ma'am's the platform of IMU and these cadets. We have 10 cadets who are doing engineering, nautical science, this thing in the, I didn't think it's called, it's my wife's call. Sorry about that. Sorry. Some calls cannot be avoided. Not wife's call. Just gone out. Anyway, so coming back to the topic, so the cadets who joined the score committee and the entire competition is being handled by them. I would one of the cadets, Farhan Harkas, also he will run the presentation as to what we have said, and we can discuss. Idea is to to deliberate on the judging process and see that when we get 157 papers on 30th June and we distribute it to all 12 judges, how are we going to do that, because it's a Herculean task for everyone. Everybody will probably get 10 to 12 papers to judge. and to give marks and things like that. I've seen some of the papers which have come a little early, and they're really good because there a lot of thinking has been put in. So idea was to the team to deliberate on the risk assessment of pilot transfer and measures to mitigate the risk and suggest the innovative solution to mitigate that risk. It could be anything for that matter. So a few of the suggestions have come very well, and I'm very sure that with our efforts and your support, the papers will come out with quality and will definitely make a difference, in the coming years. So with that, I would like Farhan to run 2 slides of presentation, which I would just introduce the core team. Uh, Farhan, can you share the slides, please?
Yes, sir.
I mean, we need to applaud the efforts of the people who are really putting efforts. So these are the, okay, can you go on full screen? Yeah, these are the mentors. Ravi Nijit has been there since inception of AMPA. He has been, a full support. And actually, with his thoughts and everything, we formed AMPA, and he's been still guiding force. Ed Verbeek, we came in contact with him about a month back, and again, thanks to Ravi. And I really liked his articles that he writes in Nautical Institute Seaways, and they're very thought provoking. So we thought we'll connect with Ed Verbeek and probably take the maritime education and training in Dutch way. I mean, in English language, I mean, say. So I'm really impressed by his involvement, and he's also finding some time for us to join these kind of meetings and guide us through. Dr. Malini Shankar already explained that she is a vice chancellor of IMU and a former director general of shipping in India. So she has been on both sides, and today at the moment, I mean, nobody knows shipping better than her on the administration side. So she's fully at the helm of all the affairs that's happening in shipping in India, and with her great support, I'm sure, and we will take this pilot safety forward, because with her efforts, ministry also has agreed to impart the pilot training from AMPA and IMU into the IMU campuses. And that's going to be a landmark thing for the pilots community in India. First time in all these years, the pilot will receive a formal classroom training. And I've been through, I mean, it just the big data and, kind of a BRM Generation 3 course. And I exactly know, what pilots in India lack in understanding about the pilot age and things like that. So that pilot training program is going to be a really great success, once we started. Next one, Farhan. And this is the core team. Idea was to get this core team onto the working, because, I mean, again, awareness between these guys will become they will be lifetime be AMPA's safety ambassadors. Now I'm declaring that in this forum. So these guys will be lifetime AMPA's pilot safety ambassadors for whichever ship they join. They will probably connect with AMPA and do things which are right for the safety of pilots and pilot age and safety of navigation and port. So these are the Devarati Bhatta is a cadet, and Rishabh Mishra, Shivam Thakur, Farhan, of course, is going to present things now. Shivan Tejasvi, Varun Patel. I'm taking their names because these guys have put relentless efforts. And I being me as a master at sea, little hard task, I call them at any time and demand work in specified time. So they are really good. So Antis Benny is there, Monish Pakarkar, and Anand Ganguly. By the way, this name which is given Samipta, safe and modern ideas of pilot transfer arrangement, was acronym by Arnab Ganguly, and which I really applauded. So this credit goes to him. So thank you very much, guys. I mean, we're banking on you, and you should be working even harder to get there where you want to, go. So I would now ask Farhan just at the presentation, and at certain slides you can stop and we can discuss. Anybody wants to say anything in between? We are in the same kind of forum here, so you can ask out if you have anything at that point in time, or we can also ask at the end a kind of question answer session. Yeah. So shall we? Or 1 minute, Farhan, just close this. I wanted Ravi and Ed to speak for 5 minutes and then start.
Yeah, sir, sure.
Hi. So Ed, would you like to say something for 5 minutes on this, and then after you, Ravi can speak, and then start the presentation.
Thank you, Captain Karanjikar. Well, I think it will be even less than 5 minutes. As Captain Karanjikar knows, I'm really interested in pilot education, organization of pilot organizations, and the role they play in supporting the pilots, making the pilots ready for the job they are going to do. So that is my main sphere of interest. In pilot ladders, I am not very good except for having climbed them for a few thousand times, but for the rest, I'm not an expert. But I do want to, it's a very important safety aspect, and I do want to support it wherever I can. So in that sense, I will give the support that I can give and give input. I've seen, if I understand well, you sent my mail around with the articles or the, yeah. So I think, you know, that kind of things.
One paragraph where you mentioned, just one paragraph where you mentioned about the operational feasibility of the measures.
Yeah.
Not the entire mail. No.
Okay, but at least the articles that are mentioned there and the other research that has been done for pilot ladders. So that kind of things I can supply, and whatever I can do to help, I will. But, you know, there's limitations to everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much. Captain Ravi, few 5 minutes of talk from you, and then we start the presentation. You're muted.
Okay. Unmuted. Yeah, so I found in my dealings, especially when we were writing up safety management systems, that the pilot's first concern was always the pilot ladder. And really the risks in pilotage are injuries or, you know, death to the pilot. It can be a life and death issue. And the others are groundings, collisions, and elisions. So before you can deal with the groundings, collisions, and elisions, you have to deal with the pilot ladder. And what's surprising is that when I first got involved with this, I found that I had quite a lot of experience in climbing pilot ladders, because from the year about 2000 till about 2011, I went in different ports in Australia and New Zealand with the pilots, and I actually climbed pilot ladders in different ports. And I found there were different practices, and there was no sort of certain knowledge on all this. And so when writing the safety management system with the Australian reef pilots, we spent a good, with Simon Mays was the CEO at the time, and we spent a good 2 months basically looking at you know, pilot ladder issues. And we were quite surprised, you know, how much there was to learn in it, because most of the emphasis is on the pilot ladder, but the thing is, it's really an end-to-end. You have to look at it end-to-end to really improve safety. And there are a lot of factors involved in this. Of course, the pilot ladder should be safe, you know, as much as you can, but you'll find that sometimes the accident takes place because nothing wrong with the pilot ladder. It's just that there's been a misjudgment. You know, the most critical moment is when the pilot steps onto the pilot ladder, is getting off. And we even did research to the effect of, is it more difficult coming down a pilot ladder or going up a pilot ladder? And the consensus of the pilots was that going down a pilot ladder is more difficult. And this is the level of research that was done at the time. And one of the other issues is that's a human factors issue. The pilot's done the job, And so now he's going to climb down the pilot ladder. So he could, his vigilance level could go down, just like, when you've done the job and there's a old human factors thing about leaving the last page in the photocopier kind of thing. So we lower our guard when the job is done. And so even that was written down into the safety management system. So you don't stop your vigilance until you're safely inside the pilot boat. And so, yeah, so I wish you all the best. This is a very good, very critical thing. And one of the judges you have is Adam Roberts, and he spent a lot of time on this. And one of the things you can pick up from him is the hazardous thoughts. We did hazardous thoughts in the BRM course. So he's got the hazardous thoughts of pilots who don't speak up, why they don't speak up, and don't complain about pilot ladder. So I think you got a very good team. With Ed, there's nothing more to be said. He's a perfect mentor for something like this. And you got Adam there and Steve Banks, and these are the people I directly know. And you got people from Rotterdam, and so I wish you all the best, and I'll give whatever support I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your words. This is the basic timeline of the event. So we will receive the papers by 30th June and by email. So we have given the instructions to MTI. I also have held a briefing session with the MTIs individually as well as one with common participants. About 300 participants came. So we have told them exactly how the papers submitted. Papers will be submitted, we have said 2,000 words for the main paper and 100 words for the abstract. So they will be converted to PDF and submitted. There will not be a student name on the paper which will be given to you. So the paper will have a unique code number and a front sheet which will also be color coded. We will know by that whether it is a nautical science student or a engineering student or a Navila student. So the judges will have to keep that in mind when we analyze the papers, because so that is the one thing. So by 30th June, we'll receive papers, all 157 of them. In case few of them drop, 150 for sure. Then we have 1 month's time to do the, scrutinizing the papers and giving them marks and things like that. At this point in time, with the 12 judges, we'll have about 12 to 13 papers each judge. We will send them to you by email. Your email is already with us. So we will send them to you by email without the institute's name and without the students' names. So you will only have the paper with the color coded this thing and with the one front sheet or mark sheet, kind of where to give marks. The criteria is coming ahead. So then you will have to submit the results to us or marks to us by 30th of July. You can do it earlier also. There's no issue. So idea is to, between 1st to 10 August, we do the paper collection from everyone, rank them and select top 10 papers. Okay, as per the marks given, 100 marks, out of 100 marks, whatever marks are given by the judges, we will select those top 10 papers, and those top 10 papers, results will be announced to the MTIs, respective MTIs, for the preparation of PowerPoint. So thereafter, students will have, what we want to do is, we want to get this all 10 papers presented, on 15th August, around that date. We will see how the day suits everyone. So 15 minutes each. There are 2 speakers and 1 researcher in each team. So both speakers will get to speak and explain the entire process and idea and things like that. In those 5-10 days, they will get to make a PPT of the paper, and they also can make models and videos or whatever is required to explain their idea in most better way. But they only have 15 minutes each team to explain. So we're going to have a 2 days event of papers, 5 papers each. First day will be a 1-hour inaugural event. I'm trying to see if the Minister of Shipping also can come for the event on the first day to inaugurate the event, because this is the first time somebody is having a research paper competition on pilot ladder and pilot safety. So Minister has consented already. He will be there in case that no schedules are fixed, but it's too early to fix schedule now. So we are looking at that. So let's see, how it goes. But five presentations one day and 5 next day. That's about it for this thing. Next one, Farhan. Farhan, next slide. Yeah, so we will have, as I told you, we'll have a sheet for you, which we will probably judge on the criteria as decided. So as per that, you'll have to scrutinize the papers and give the marks there. So it is really easy for us to. But then you'll have to again send the papers back. So we are going to have this marking sheet, editable PDF, where you can put a tick mark by computer itself and write the marks by typing or by hand also you can write in case you are using iPad. So there is no need of printing and scanning and all this kind of facilities. So you can send the papers back after you give the marks on a first sheet. Next one. So this is the judging criteria basically and the marks what we have said. We are giving about 10 marks to the abstract because we have told them to submit abstract. Abstract is supposed to be an exact summary of a whole paper. Writing abstract is an art of summarizing the entire paper. So there will be an abstract and then there will be a paper. So abstract will have about 10 marks. A concept with sufficient depth. Whatever concepts they are putting in place in their credits, we have told them to do a research in the market, do industry research, ask people, ask peers, ask your seniors and find out, because as Ed initially really said very clearly that the cadets do not know much about pilot ladders and things like that. So they are supposed to do some studies, do some research in the market, and come back to the paper, putting that thing inside data and see what risks are there. So paper layout is also has about 10 marks. We are told them to make sections in the papers. They can make tabulation sections, different paragraphs, diagrams. 2-3 papers which I told you have come. They have got beautiful diagrams they have drawn there, to explain the process. 20 marks are given for thought process innovation, because whatever risks they understand out of pilot ladder, there are about 100 plus risks in pilot ladder pilot transfer. So we have told them to take 2-3 kind of risks only and put the innovative idea in mitigating that risk. That thought process behind is very important. You will be able to make out, because as you read the explanation and originality of the idea, you will be able to understand as to what they're thinking, what their mind is thinking. And if it is copied and pasted from somewhere else, you will also exactly know, because you guys are all very well experienced. Industry is such an example. I received one mail from AIMPA other day, asking me, because one of the cadets wrote to them, asking them how many accidents have happened in Australian waters so far. So I mean, since I was talking to Alan Schwartz, so Alan Schwartz sends the mail back to me saying that, please, Captain, if you can help this cadet, he's an Indian boy, looks like, and he so that was a really good thing for me, because I mean, students are really working, thinking out of the box. I mean, I wouldn't return to AMSA in the cadetship days for sure. But these guys, they wrote. Some of the guys I also have done they have put the survey forms in the market, in the industry, understanding about the process of the risk, involved in pilot transfer. So that's good. We also have given some pilots to some institutes just to explain more, because the entire game was to create awareness. The more impactful awareness can we create in these cadets, more effective the pilot transfer is going to be in next 20 years at sea. So some of the pilots also are helping them. Vocabulary and terminology has 10 marks. So naturally, we expect them to use maritime vocabulary all the time. They should not say, I mean, pilot ladder is pilot ladder. This cannot be a staircase. So something like that. So that's also very important. So that also has 10 marks. And conclusion. Conclusion, hazard identification and risk mitigation at its core. So whatever conclusion they have made of their industry research, of their reading various papers, of their thought process of innovation, they have to conclude in the end. And in conclusion, they have to mention about what hazards they identified, how did they identify, and what has been their mitigation of risks, what they're suggesting. This will have about 10 marks. Total marks are about 100 in this case. For our next slide. My throat is a little sore today. Any questions? That's all. I mean, that's all I wanted to explain to you all. But it was important to meet you all and and discuss and explain. So any more questions anybody has got, we can always discuss and come to a common understanding or consensus. I'm not answering any questions as such here, but we can always discuss and and Ed and Ravi is there. They can always guide us as to what we should do. So if any questions are there, please go ahead. Farhan, you can check the thing. Stop sharing, please. Yeah. So any questions? I mean, welcome if anybody's got any questions.
So from the way we are supposed to judge, it's like each paper is being judged by one judge. So you say about 12 judges, about 10 papers each judge.
Yeah, 10 to 12 papers each judge, correct.
So it will not be a few judges arriving at a consensus and saying this is a good paper. These individual judges judging a paper, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's true. Because the volume is very big. Actually, earlier I had in mind to give to crisscross the papers with judges, but then that will be again another exercise of sending them. Yes. Since you will not know the student's name and the MTI name, so you will be only purely judging on the content.
Right.
So there is nothing bias is going to happen. I mean, you guys we are all 20 years plus experience in chipping, so so we know what is the idea, can percolate. Any more questions? Any more doubts? Any more any glitch somewhere? We must have missed. I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, this is the first time AIMPA is doing competition also, and this kind of thing is happening for the first time.
Hi, Adam here.
Yeah, Adam, tell me.
I got to say, I'm. Feel it's a big responsibility as one judge to judge the 10 papers or 12 papers, and I guess not having judged academic papers ever before, and probably well regarded in my year of cadets as being the worst academic in the year, I feel. Yeah, I know pilot ladders a lot, and but judging papers, my only concern is that as a non-academic type guy, perhaps will shortchange some of my guys. So I will be looking for some perhaps support from other judges if I've got questions from the academic side of judging papers. The ideas, yeah, I feel comfortable with the practical ideas and the application and that sort of thing. But academic judging of papers, more of a practical guy than theoretical. So I will be looking for some support from the panel on this.
I agree with Adam. We should have a training course on how to judge. Huh?
Can I say something, Captain?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Maybe it is a solution to make small teams and give them maybe 1 or 2 papers more, but that you're not alone, because I think, as Adam says, it is quite a heavy responsibility, and there's always this possibility that you judge slightly different. So I think if you can make small teams of maybe 2 or 3 judges that can talk together and come to a consensus, that the judges will feel more comfortable, but also that the papers are judged, a little bit more fairly, because you'll always get change. That's the problem with judges. So maybe there's an idea of trying to work out something like that. It's just a suggestion.
Overwhelmed by the I guess the participation and the passion that I'm seeing from the students. I'm really, really pleased to see that. That gives me enormous feeling of goodness to see so many young people that have put forward these ideas, and I'm really, really pleased that it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, good suggestion to have the teams, but the logistics, for sending papers, whom to send what papers. What I was of the opinion that, Adam, again, there's always a first time. to do things. So it's also awareness to you now this time.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we couldn't have conducted a training program for this because we are no position to train you guys. I'm struggling to train young cadets and pilots here. But very good suggestion by Ed as such. I mean, let me put the thought across. What I would think that in case you find any, I mean, I don't know if you can all agree for this. In case you find a paper which you think you don't comprehend, or don't understand, or don't know, I mean, or you can't judge properly with the criteria which is given, then maybe we can pass it on back to AIMPA's office and we will then put it to somebody else. Maybe we give it to Ed then, or give it to Ravi sir to do the judging. Yes, Pandey, aap kuch bol rahe the.
Yeah, I was suggesting if we give a set of papers to the judges initially, and we send in our evaluations, and then out of shuffling them, make sure the same was not sent to you again. You send them on to other judges. The same thing. You have two evaluations. You don't know whom you're evaluating every time. So you get two evaluations for each paper, at least two. You can take an average.
That means instead of 12, you have to do 24 papers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking one paper a day, so you can finish the job in 15 days. Given a time at home, 1-2 days. I mean, because people are piloting, Harman is piloting ships.
No,
piloting ships.
What Adam was actually saying, I also like that. That's what my first question was. Are we going to have the whole responsibility of judging one person doing all judges? That's a little, I also hesitate. Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yes, Captain, hello.
Yes, I want to make just a short question.
Please.
I would like to know if the students have ever climbed up and down the pilot ladder and addressed the dangers that the pilot ladder offers.
Yes, they have practiced. They have a pilot ladder institute and they have seen the pilot ladder. They have gone up and down the pilot ladder. There are some students who are the PG students, who have done 1-2 sailings also on board. So we have two categories, undergraduate and postgraduate. So postgraduate students who are taking part, they have been on the ship and they have seen the pilot ladder themselves, and so they have better understanding. So we have put the category different because their papers will be more polished. Their papers will be more practical. Like what Ed said about the feasibility and operational, implementation. That is what So these cadets have seen the pilot ladder. They have an exercise of climbing pilot ladder, 8-10 steps in the institute, which they have done. So they have a fair idea about pilot ladder.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And
Again, competition idea was of collaboration of the students was that they should think out of box. So you and me will not be able to challenge the pilot ladder because we have used it. We have gone up 120 times and come down. So those cadets will think, why should we use this? Why should we use this wood and rope kind of a thing? We can have something else, something much better. I can't think of any other rope than Manila rope when pilot ladder comes to the pilot ladder. So or wood, or maybe they might think of fiber. They might think of something else which is more durable, which is more foolproof.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have, sir?
Yeah, please,
Hello.
Please go ahead.
I'm Captain Bega. Sir, I just have a suggestion, that can we have a judges meeting so that we can reach on an agreement of on a marking procedures, so that fair judgment can be given actually, so that we are on the same page. I'm just saying that we'll be on the same page when judging the papers.
How this is judges meeting only, and this is what we have showed you the procedure.
No, I understand that the procedure, once we get the paper, we'll come to know that you have told about the marking this thing. We are just saying that the judges can sit that and see that what are the modality of markings actually. That's what I mean to say. Right. That's what.
We can do that. I mean, in case you have any question with the paper, we can put it across to other judges. I get another idea as I'm talking about this. I don't know whether all of you will agree. I can make one small Google group of all the judges, so in case you have, we can exchange the papers there. So all judges will see all the papers, So there will not be a bias. Suppose X student writes an idea, which Harman scraps it, saying that, this is not possible. Which Captain Pandey might like, because there are two different societies judging the papers. So it just comes to my mind now that we might form a Google group and do this. Let's see. I mean, let's think about it more. In case you'll agree, then I can, or any critical paper you can put. Hi, Steve. How are you? Good to see you on shift. So you are somebody joining straight from the piloting grounds.
I've only just got off the ship half an hour ago and just hopped off the pilot boat now. So as you can see, I'm still at work.
Exactly. Oh, thank you very much.
So I tuned in about half an hour ago.
That's what I call spirit, and this is what motivates. Okay, so there we are. Any more questions? Anything else? So I think, going by Captain Pandey's suggestion, at least 2 people evaluating, we will see how can we do. Or maybe another thought, Captain Ravi can, probably guide me on this. The papers which are on the critical marking range, suppose we have to choose 10 papers and we have, like more than 80 marks, 20 papers. Those papers again can be, sent to everybody else. So they can also give a second mark, kind of a thing. So we are sure that somebody has given 97 marks out of 100. That means it is really a good idea and something can be really taken up. Like in the board examinations you have in India, if you score 34, 35 on the borderline, your paper is rechecked again. And similarly, about 95 again is rechecked, something like that.
When I was studying at universities in Australia, for a B and a C, the university lecturer could do it himself. But if you gave somebody an A, it had to be seen by at least 1, if not 2 people. If it was an A plus, it had to be seen by 2 other people.
So something like that. So no injustice. Somebody has got 50 marks only. Yeah. Some judge has given a 50 marks only to him. There is no need to against the waste somebody else's time for the, again retaking. So we will do the evaluation of certain papers.
Yeah, the ones like on the A side, something like that could be done. That the papers that are, outstanding, that they are then reviewed by more than 1 person.
Correct. Sure. Okay, let's do this way. Any more questions? I would just like everybody to speak for 2-3 minutes. I mean, you can take turns and give an opinion about the competition and things like that, and we'll conclude if there are no more questions, because I told you, so start from Captain Pandey. I mean.
Yes. Thank you, Gajanan. Wonderful initiative. Very glad to be part of this. And I really look forward to all the papers, ideas which they're going to get. I'm really keen to see how their minds are working. So I'm going to enjoy it, I think. 10 papers, 20 papers, bring it on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for support. Captain Pandey also, he's very actively involved in the AIMPA journal. And every time, he puts in a lot of work in, checking all the articles. So one day I gave him 8 articles to check. So he's telling me, what is that to check? He's already done and dusted up. I wanted you to read the, how Ed is thinking about, pilot training. And it's one of the best articles of who's pilot, advisor or expert. Best article was. So Captain Pandey helps us a lot in the AIMPA journal. He's also on the editorial board. And we're going to soon induct him into the executive council when we have our next AGM, because he's a very active member of the AIMPA, and also very supports at all levels.
Is Suman Mani one of the judges?
Yes, he's coming. He's come.
Yeah, well, is he there?
No, he's not there. He told me he'll come. Okay. He did not give his number also. I can't call him. Suman Mani is there. You know him?
I just wanted to see what he looked like. He was my junior on the training ship.
Even I don't have his photograph also, so I really don't know.
I think he still looks like a junior only.
I guess 70, he must be 75, 76 years old.
Captain Herman Brothers, you want to speak? Next.
Yeah, so you know, I think it's going to be it's going to be a lot of work, but I'll be very pleased to work with you. I have the feeling that every paper should be accompanied by a standardized reporting form, so that every judge can fill out the marking in a standardized way. And also, I feel very much with Steve and with Ed that it should be possible for judges to ask each other's feedback in case they have doubt about some papers. You know, let's have some peer review if needed, and especially when we come down to, let's say, some kind of a short list. I have the feeling that more than one judge should be looking at these things. So I think it's a very good way that if reports reach let's say an 80% marking limit, it should be reviewed by more than one judge. Ideally, I would say 2 or 3, maybe even. For the final shortlist.
True. Yeah, so the standardized mark sheet is going to be there. I mean, you know, you're going to have a first form which will have a unique code number of the paper.
Yeah.
And below that you will have those judging criteria and a square next to it where you can write either type by keyboard the marks. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to give suppose concept note, you want to give 10 out of 10, suppose only 5 marks. Or something like that, you can give marks there and it automatically be total as to what is the total thing. And you can again resend that entire form after saving. You can resend the form back to AIMPA as it is done. And very rightly you said that more than one judge. So as Captain Ravi suggested, and we all agreed that the higher marks papers, which will be in competition with the top 10 race, which will be re-evaluated again.
Sure.
And even if required more, then I will pass some papers to Ravi and Ed also to see whether they are really 3 papers getting 97 marks out of 100.
Okay. Thank you very much. Excellent. I will. I'm looking forward to seeing your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman. Herman also supports very much. Every AIMPA journal he hosts on his pilotdatasafety.com website, and he also took a part in our pilot talk show, and where he spoke, very well on the challenges that he has on the big ships in Rotterdam and things like that. So his show was viewed the most, 520 views in India. I mean, no pilots view this show as such, So it was 520 hits on his talk show, and I'm really happy that he really puts in a lot of efforts and promotes us, AIMPA, because we are all still in fancy stage. So, so we need a lot of support from the world pilots. May I request Captain Kohli speak next, please?
Yeah, good afternoon. It's nice to see so many senior people from the port sector and from the pilots here. And I would really appreciate Captain Gajanan's initiative to bring together not only the Indian pilots, but the international pilots, which we tried for a long time, but did not succeed. But you have succeeded. So congratulations on that. And I think it's a very good initiative. And I'm sure we will get positive results. As I think Robert said, that we are not academically trained because there is a saying, what my seniors told me, once a pilot, always a pilot. So even I have retired now, but whenever I go in a boat, I look at everything as if I'm still a pilot, So judging papers would be a difficult task, but I'm sure with the help, as everybody is offering now, we should be able to achieve good results. And looking forward to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for kind words. Captain Kohli also, he supported AIMPA from beginning. In fact, if I need to crack anything in India and I need to know who's what where, I always call him. and ask him, who's trying to do this fellow? So he will give you the leads like that. So thank you very much, sir. Steve, can I request Steve to speak next? His screen is frozen. Captain Ilo, you want to speak next? So you can't hear. Hello. Captain Ilo, do you want to speak next? So can we have Captain Beg and then Adam speaking, one after the other? Captain Beg.
Right. Thank you, Captain Karanjkar, for this initiative. Actually, I am looking forward to that. Actually, we would like this in the whole process of pilotage. This pilot ladder is a very vital aspect which has been neglected. It's good that it has been brought upon, and in the young minds, it has to be fed through that how important it is. It may not act today, it will act in another 5 years, 10 years time. It is going to inculcate with them. Actually, it's a very good thought process, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your involvement. We're looking forward to your association more in AIMPA. You are the only one on the eastern coast of India. We are really looking for your help and resolving issues there.
All supports from my side, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Adam, can we have you?
Look, I think, am I back on? I can't see myself, but the really great thing that I see about this is the international connection. I think is a fantastic thing for all of us, and the other really great thing for me is to see the response from cadets, and the fact that we've been able to tap into an enormous volume of cadets. Coming from Australia, when I was a cadet, we had a massive. Our year was one of the big years for the country, and we had about 40 cadets start, and after that, it steadily declined. So. For me to be part of something where I see so many young people who are coming into the industry, I think we're tapping into that. A lot of things that we're doing here now, we're trying to work on our mentoring and connect young people together with more experienced people. So a very positive project, and as I said, very pleased to be part of it, and also very aware of the responsibility that we have in judging these guys, because we want to encourage them, and I think that anyone who participates in this is worthy of our thanks for their time and efforts to try and raise the standards in pilot transfer. So I think as we go about our business as the pilots and sort of elder statesmen of the industry for some of our colleagues, we need to really make sure that we thank the participants for their papers and really show our appreciation that they've devoted their time, thoughts and efforts to solving a problem that we've been living with for a long time. So that's about all I've got to say on the matter.
Thank you, Adams. Thank you very much, and for your involvement, and you accepted. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your hazardous thoughts. I mean, it has really picked up my, nerves, so as to say. And when Ravi says something, that means it is got a certificate attached to it, which is in golden.
Pretty much, they were Ravi's thoughts from a BRM course, and I translated it to pilot ladders and thought about how do pilots think about this, and it's the same things. It's the same thing for BRM, pilot ladders. The hazardous thoughts are the same, but they're just applied a little bit differently. So
we will take you on a talk show one day. We'll discuss on a talk show one day, so everybody, all pilots in India can hear you. May I request Steve Banks now? I mean, it's very heartening to see you in the full pilot gear, and you couldn't have attended the program better than this. I'm sure about it. So thank you very much, and would like to hear you. You're not there most of the program. I will send you the recording for sure, where you can see the presentation as well as the whoever has spoken what and what we have explained. That's the part, but I mean nothing rocket science. You would probably know it better than us. Please go ahead.
Yeah, well, sorry I missed the meeting, but shipping came first, unfortunately. So I was halfway down the harbour when the meeting started. So I've only just got off the ship and worked my way back to my office. So I haven't even got out of my gear yet. But what I have heard, it sounds really interesting. Good to see Adam there. Adam and I have worked quite closely over recent years with challenges about non-compliant ladder arrangements. So it'll be quite good having a reason to be in touch with Adam as well. I caught his comments earlier on about the concern of judging people, being the only judge of a person, and I probably share some of views. I'd probably be concerned that some of these young chaps will put a lot of work into these, and I'd hate to be the person who decided on only one of them being a credible or the best choice, and possibly dismiss one that other judges may think was a very good submission. So, you know, I'm a little bit hesitant about being the only judge to thin out the field, so to speak, and come down to the final group. But that sounds like something that's been well discussed by some of the others, so I'm sure there'll be more discussion on that. But yeah, it's good being involved in this, because I was made redundant last September as a result of COVID, and I'm just coming back as a relieving pilot now, so I'm semi-retired. So I'm getting a bit more of my life back now to do a few of my home projects. So after my 5 years as president, I just stayed on as secretary to help the new team. So it's still good to keep my hand in, and doing this project is, yeah, I look forward to that, as keeping in touch with the industry. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Steve, for your involvement, and you agreed. Yeah,
I'll
please.
just say something about Steve. Steve,
Sure.
yeah. So, Gajanan, when I first spoke to you, you reminded me of Steve. Because I started working with Steve in 2014, and his drive and enthusiasm just swept me along with him. And in 2018, it culminated in a conference in New Zealand, which I think was, in my 25 years of being involved in pilotage, was the most significant conference on pilotage.
Wow.
And we are all living off the fruits of that conference, because it gave a whole direction. So Steve's a pretty special sort of person. And so you are the sort of Steve Banks of India. I'm
honored. I'm honored to have his name.
Your drive and commitment and all is going to sweep all of us along as well. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Steve, this time also you had a conference in New Zealand in 2021. You were supposed to have a conference, right?
Oops, I've just unmuted myself. I'm just on the phone at the moment, as you can.
Also, in 2021, you were supposed to have one pilotage conference in New Zealand, right?
Yes, we're having one in November. We were originally planning to have our conference in Auckland this year, because Auckland's our best city to have a conference, being our biggest city and has most international flights. The last one we had in Auckland in 2016, we invited pilots from the Pacific Basin, basically. So we had pilots from Canada, Alaska, US, Hawaii, Tahiti, most of the Western Pacific Islands, Australia, of course. I think Adam might have been even at that conference. And as usual at most of our conferences, I'd say, or probably should say all our conferences, Ravi is always a major contributor and presenter. So with Ravi winding down, it's probably a good reason for me to wind down as well, I think. But yes, we've got, but because of COVID, we've got flights between Australia and New Zealand, so but not international. So we put our Auckland conference back to November next year in Auckland. when we hope it'll allow international delegates to join us again. This year we put it into one of our smaller ports, Nelson, because of it only really likely to attract New Zealand pilots and maybe a few from Aussie. Taking note, Adam, middle of November. So hopefully by November next year, you'd be most welcome for some of the Indian pilots if they want to come down to join us in Auckland. The invite goes out to all pilots, really. We've had pilots, I think at 2018, we had some pilots from the UK. John Pern came out for the Wellington conference in 2018. So we always enjoy having some international visitors as well. So but this year's one, it's unlikely many international travellers will get here, so that's why we've decided to put it to one of our smaller ports and keep Auckland for next year. So hopefully November 2022 there will be an opportunity for yourself and maybe some of the pilots from Southeast Asia to join us.
Sure, definitely next year.
I can tell you now that Steve and I sometimes compete for delegates with the conferences we organise, and I don't know how he does it so cheap. His conferences are an absolute bargain. You turn up and you get well fed, and you get to enjoy lots of local wine and beer, which I'm going to tell you, Australian wine's good, New Zealand wine is very good. And yeah, if you get an opportunity to attend one of Steve's conferences, it's definitely one that you want to go to. I've been to several. I think we had someone from Trinidad at your last one, Steve. All the way from Trinidad and Tobago as well. So yeah, definitely one to put on your list of places to go.
Sure.
Yeah, that was Winston Singh came over from Trinidad. So Winston got an award for being the pilot that travelled the longest distance to get to our New Zealand conference. So he did pretty well.
Oh, nice. Captain Karkare is also here. Are you there, Captain Karkare? Do you want to say a few words? Oh, he's very busy. We just finished one meeting with a Mumbai port chairman with respect to blue economy and working on coastal cargo, the inland waterways at 1:30, and then I jumped here and he came later on. So he's very busy at the moment. I think that's it. You're there. Okay, please.
Yeah, I just come. I was busy.
I know. I was there in the meeting.
Yeah, I've gone through the thing and I'm very happy with the part of it. Will give my best to assess these papers. Would like to know that how the young mind thinks about and how important they think of the pilot ladder. That is the most important. And as Captain Pandey or Captain Beg said, that the idea and the importance when you try to imbibe into their mind right now, that would be very important in the subsequent sea career. So that's a good initiative you all have taken. And that suggestion was good that anyone above say 70% or 80% should be judged by 2, which second reevaluation should be done. That's a good idea. Otherwise, it could be a kind of a arbitrary or a unilateral decision may happen that somebody really good one gets neglected. So it's better that 2 judges is good. Forward to participation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your involvement. Captain Karkare also, he's an advisor in Mumbai port now, but I always fall back on him. Anything I need for the pilotage or any information I need. So he's also a great supporter of AIMPA. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your help. And you are very busy these days with the blue economy on your plate. So that's a good thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I think anybody else wants to say something, or shall we now close, or something from Ravi in the end, or Ed?
I think it's going very well.
Yeah.
And,
okay. Yeah. As you wish. All right. Right, sir. Thank you very much. Then thanks for joining, guys. Namaste from India. Thanks, cadets. Panan, Shivansh, thank you very much, Arnab, for your presence, and you guys were here. Kohli Saab, thank you very much. Captain Ilo, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks. Now Steve looks like a captain. Chalo, thank you very much.